Good evening, live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman Television. Here we present to you 8:30 News Bulletin. But first, the headlines. The National Civil Defense Committee affirms that all the sectors of the National System for Emergency Cases Management are exerting efforts to deal with the damage caused by the tropical condition. Various intensity rains are witnessed by the wilayas of the Governorate of the Far due to the effects of the tropical condition. Thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cabal of greetings to His Excellency President Dr. Ilham Haydar Aliyev of the Republic of Azerbaijan on his country's National Day. His Majesty the Sultan has also sent a cabal of greetings to His Excellency President Dr. Mulatu Thusome of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia on his country's National Day. And His Majesty sends a cabal of greetings to His Excellency President Bidya Devi Bhandari of the Republic of Nepal on her country's National Day. The National Civil Defense Committee has stressed that all the sectors of the National System for Emergency Cases Management are exerting efforts to deal with the damage caused by the tropical condition and to get the situation back to normal. This came in the committee's meeting headed by His Excellency Lieutenant General Hassan bin Mohsen Al-Shuraikhi, Inspector General of Police and Customs, Chairman of the committee. The meeting also focused on all the efforts by public and private sectors, including the citizens and residents, as it praised their cooperation to reduce the damages as possible. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, visited the Governorate of the Far to review the health status in the Governorate and follow up the work at health institutions through its 3 healthcare levels. More details in the following report. Health Minister's visits to healthcare institutions in the Governorate of the Far aimed at assessing the damages caused by the recent climate conditions. He reviewed the requirements needed to these institutions and follow up the efforts between the health officials and the concerned authorities. During the visit, the Minister met members of Emergency and Health Crisis Management Committee in the Governorate of the Far. He praised the committee's efforts and the health workers during the climate conditions. The Minister was briefed to the committee's report on the health status in the Governorate, which includes the emergency health plan that has been activated, the health institutions that were evacuated and closed precautionary before the start of the climate conditions. The brief also included the efforts exerted in providing the health services during these conditions, effects on some institutions, and the means of restarting the work in those closed institutions, as well as repair damages as soon as possible. Dr. Ahmed also visited Sultan Qaboos Hospital in Salalah to view the damages to the hospital and its facilities, as well as Salalah Nursing Institute, along with a number of primary healthcare institutions in the Governorate. He also visited Salalah Heart Center, which serves as an emergency center, to reassure the progress of work after receiving a number of medical cases transferred to it from other healthcare institutions. Dr. Ahmed visited Armed Force Hospital in Salalah and met a number of military officials to review the health status and the cooperation between the hospital and the health services in the Governorate during the climate condition. And now with us live on telephone call is His Excellency the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi. Your Excellency, welcome to this brief interview.
Thank you very much, Abdullah, and good evening to all the viewers.
Good evening to you, Your Excellency. We understand that you have just arrived from the Governorate of the Far after visiting various healthcare institutions, including Sultan Qaboos Hospital, and meeting with other health officials. So how did you find the situation there, and what was the outcome of your visit?
Well, to start with, the aim of my visit was to thank all the staff who've been working round the clock over the last 4 days, preparing for the cyclone, and also to look at firsthand at the damage which was caused by the cyclone. I believe that we learned a lot as a government how to prepare, coordinate, and manage emergencies. The coordination between different sectors and working together as one team was actually the recipe for success in managing this cyclone. And I was very pleased to see that the doctors from the Ministry of Health and the Armed Forces Hospital in Salalah working together as one team. At the Ministry of Health, we have already pre-prepared plan for emergencies, which were activated by our Emergency Response Center. And these are some of the actions actually we took in preparation for the cyclone. To start with, all the needed medications and equipment that are for emergencies, the supply to the government of the FAR was intensified. We also took an action to close and evacuate Sultan Qaboos Hospital in Salalah. 57 of the patients who were in that hospital were transferred to the Armed Forces Hospital in Salalah. And 333 patients with their relatives were airlifted to different governments in the south of Oman, most of them in Muscat. And here I'm very grateful to Oman Royal Air Force for being instrumental in the evacuation and for giving us all the facilities we needed. The evacuation went very smoothly. The patients in different parts of Oman been looked after very well. The relatives were given residence in hotels in Muscat, particularly those patients who required renal dialysis. We had to evacuate them. We were worried when we were expecting the worst. I am pleased to say, though, that during my visit today and inspecting Sultan Qaboos Hospital in Salalah, the damage I found and I saw was luckily, alhamdulillah, less than expected. And for example, the renal dialysis unit was functional today already. And I'm hoping that most of the hospital will be prepared and most of it will be ready for our patient to come back from different parts of the Sultanate and from the Royal Air Force Hospital, from the Royal Air Force hospitals, from the Royal Army hospitals within the coming few days. The staff, whether they are from the Ministry of Health or different sectors, they've been working around the clock, and they've been working together as a team. And as I said, this is a great opportunity for us to be proud of all of them and to thank them. Oman proved again that during emergencies and without emergency, we stand together, we work together, and that is what make the impact of this cyclone is much less than expected. Of course, here I will not miss the opportunity of thanking all the media, whether TV, newspapers, and radios, for being partners in managing the emergency and counteracting the rumors and spreading the news from the right sources, which also was very important. So everybody worked together, everybody was well prepared, everybody gave their time and effort, and alhamdulillah, things were much better than we expected. All of us were expecting the worst, and that's why we prepared ourselves to the maximum, and that's why the results were, alhamdulillah, very good.
Indeed, Your Excellency, the united team has shown a spirit of working together, and it was wonderful to see each section that we're working all together. Now, with the situation of the staff, don't you have any difficulties with the staff at this particular moment? Because I believe people were pouring from different areas, would like actually to give some sort of assistance, including Nursing Association, where the many nurses were actually ready to travel up to the Governorate of the FAR.
I am extremely grateful to everybody who offered their help in the health sector, whether it is from the Ministry of Health or other government organization or the private sector. The situation in Dhofar and Salalah and Dhofar is stable, and the workforce there at the moment are sufficient. We may need to, of course, mobilize some of the workforces from the different parts of Oman, but that will appear after. It will be very clear after we reopen open Sultan Qaboos Hospital in Salalah. Of course, the cardiac center, which is adjacent to Sultan Qaboos Hospital in Salalah, was working during the cyclone. We shifted equipment and staff also and medication to the cardiac center, which was utilized as an emergency department. They've been admitting patients there. The capacity there is very good. As I said, Armed Forces Hospital, we worked together. We sent staff, equipment, beds, and the teams from both hospitals, Sultan Qaboos Hospital and the Armed Forces Hospital in Salalah, where I visited both of them today, they work in harmony. I was very pleased and touched to see nurses and doctors and staff from both institutions working together and looking after premature babies, women who just deliver children, patients who had accidents. So the spirit and the true spirit of Omani and expatriates, whom I'm very grateful to all of them, shined actually during this crisis. And we can thank them hundreds of times. We will not still repay them for what they've done. But this is the duty of all of us in this country. We've learned from His Majesty the dedication, the hard work. He built the country with his team, and we have to continue doing the same.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for your time. That was His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health. Royal Oman Police ROP had handled more than 100 emergency cases affected by Tropical Cyclone Mikunu in the governorates of the Far and Al-Wusta. The exerted efforts by the Royal Oman Police and other military and security bodies to bring things back to normal in the areas affected by Cyclone Mikunu. Royal Oman Police dealt with tens of calls from citizens and residents who were stuck at wadis or were surrounded by water and their homes. Royal Oman Police expressed its utmost thanks to National Committee for Civil Defense and citizens for their cooperation and adhering to instructions during the weather situation, which contributed in reducing losses. Royal Oman Police patrols are spread in various wilayats of both governorates of the Far and Al-Wusta to deal with emergency cases. Royal Oman Police officials, in cooperation with citizens and residents, have played a major role in cleaning roads from debris. The governorates of the Far and Al-Wusta witnessed moderate to heavy rains due to the weather situation during the period from 23rd to 27th of May. Measuring stations affiliated to the Ministry of Regional Municipalities and Water Resources recorded the quantities of rains in the following wilayats of both the governorates as follows. In Salalah 600 millimeters, in Taqa 300 millimeters, in Mirbat 221 millimeters, while the recorded quantities of rains in the rest of the wilayats of the Far governorates ranged from 200 to 210 millimeters. In the governorates of Al-Wusta, it was recorded as 15 millimeters in the wilaya of Al-Jazr. The governorates of Al-Dakhiliya, North Sharqiya and Buraymi were indirectly affected by the cyclonic weather and witnessed light to moderate rains. The measuring stations affiliated to the ministry registered various quantities of the rains in the following wilayas. Adam 14 millimeters, Buraymi 8 millimeters, Wadi Bani Khalid 5 millimeters. Rains caused wadis and their tributaries to overflow in the governorate of the Far and Al-Wusta. It's worth mentioning that the protection dam in the wilaya of Salalah received 29 million cubic meters of water, while Sahlanut dam received around 6.5 million cubic meters of water. The engineering services in the Ministry of Defense started to repair the damaged roads and returning the electricity and communications networks in the areas affected by the tropical condition in the governorate of the Far. The efforts came within the support operations provided by the Ministry of Defense and Sultan's Armed Forces in cooperation with the state sectors. It's worth mentioning that the engineering services provided help for the citizens and residents of the governorates as well as public and private institutions. With the aim to enhance the effort exerted by the military, security and other sectors during the weather situation Mikono, the Royal Guard of Oman sent an aid convoy to the governorates of the FAR. The aid included the necessary needs for the citizens and residents in the various wilayas of the governorate. The Royal Guard of Oman set a pre-plan to deal with the condition through qualified cadres who will provide urgent living needs to the affected people. Within the exerted efforts and services rendered by the Ministry of Defense and Sultan's Armed Forces to help citizens and residents in the governorate of the FAR during the tropical cyclone Mikono, the Royal Air Force of Oman RAFO transported 2 patients from a health center affiliated to the 2nd Battalion of Border Guard at Muaskar al-Mazyuna to Sultan's Armed Forces hospitals in the Wilaya of Salalah through helicopter. The Royal Air Force of Oman also transported some children who were affected by asthma from Adunib area in the Wilaya of Salalah to Sultan's Armed Forces Hospital in the same Wilaya. Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Harith al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of Sultan's Armed Forces, got acquainted with support operations and efforts of the main military committee for management of emergency situations. During his visit to the premises of the committee in Muaskar al-Murtafa'a, he was briefed on the efforts and services provided by the Minister of Defense and Sultan's Armed Forces to support the state sector during the last and upcoming periods, in addition to coordination aspects between the committee and subcommittees of all the commands and units in the governorates of the FAR and Al-Wusta. Major General Matar bin Salim al-Balushi, commander of the Royal Army of Oman, paid a visit to the Infantry Brigade 11 Command at the Royal Army of Oman and Armed Forces Hospital in Salalah to follow up the work progress in providing various services to the citizens and residents affected by the cyclone Mikono. He expressed his gratitude for the efforts exerted by various military sectors in the governorate and the aid and support to the citizens and residents. Air Vice Marshal Matar bin Ali Al-Ubaidani, commander of Royal Air Force of Oman, toured the Salalah and Thumrait aerial bases to follow up the support operations and air transport services of providing supply materials, health services, medical equipment, technical supports, as well as search, rescue, evacuation and relief operations. He hailed the efforts exerted by all affiliates of the Royal Air Force of Oman in cooperation with the state's various sectors. Within the national efforts exerted by the Maritime Security Center and within the role of various national centers to deal with the Mikono, the Maritime Security Center held a meeting to stand on damages caused by the cyclone in the marine field, in addition to reviewing the status of Salalah Maritime Port and fishing ports in the governorate of the FAR. The meeting also discussed the role and tasks of different military security and civil bodies related to the marine security during this weather condition. More than 150 distress calls were received by the Public Authority for Civil Defense and Ambulance during the weather situation in the governorate of the FAR and Al-Wusta. The Authority Operations Center received 44 calls reporting for people stuck in their vehicles in the wadis and 4 calls for requesting ambulance services for a number of health issues. The Operations Center also received a number of calls reporting fires, in addition to 2 calls requesting to drain water from a building that was submerged in flood waters. The Ministry of Transport and Communications continued its efforts to open the affected roads by the weather condition Mikono. The ministry determined the roads damages and started to repair and qualify them to facilitate the movement in the affected areas, as well as it removed wadis wastes. Capital Market Authority strengthens to facilitate the compensate procedures for the clients of the insurance companies who were affected by the Mikono and provide the necessary insurance services to them. This came within the emergency meeting held in the authority with the insurance companies. During the meeting, they agreed to extend working hours of the insurance companies' branches in the governorate of the FAR, in addition to give more authorizations to these branches through providing them with work teams to check damages. The insurance companies that that do not have branches in the governorate of the FAR will form staff team to visit the governorates and finish the procedures of their clients affected by the weather condition. And now here are the Ramadan times for tomorrow, the 12th, Fajr prayers at 3:55 a.m. and Maghrib prayers at 6:53 p.m. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and now to end this news bulletin, here are the main points once again. The National Civil Defense Committee affirms that all the sectors of the National System for Emergency Cases Management are exerting efforts to deal with the damage caused by the tropical condition. And various intense city rains are witnessed by the wilayas of the governorate of the FAR due to the effect of the tropical condition. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. Thank you for joining us, and good night.